guests, we all work together to interview many different restaurants and stores
in Andersonville. I'm Brianna, Dream Big's investigative reporter. The first day, Monday, we went to Women and Children's Bookstore, where we learned about the workers and about the store itself.
We have a drama section, and whatever Shakespeare plays we have will be in the drama section. So when we get there, I'll show you where they are. Julia. That may be all by Shakespeare that we have. Looks like we have books 1, 2, and 3 of the Cane
I never knew peaches could be so good. We got fresh fruit at the farmer's market yesterday.
Ever wondered about Swedish history? Well, we went to talk to a worker about at the SAM, Swedish American Museum. Interesting.
My first question is, do you like Chicago? I do like Chicago. I think it's a really nice place to live, and I think that it's very beautiful, and it's really great living in such a diverse city.
What's your favorite baseball team?
Not really a baseball person, but if I had to pick one, I would say the Cubs because I'm from the north side, and my family likes the Cubs too, so I'll go with that.
My last question is, what is the oldest thing in the museum?
Oh my goodness. I don't know if I'm the best person to ask that question. But I know that we have a lot of our stuff is from the 1800s, but there are things older than that. I think from the 1500s and 1600s. But I can't tell you the thing that we have the most of in the museum. And that's Bibles. We have a whole lot of Bibles that people have donated, all different dates.
D is for Dallas.
And action, Emma.
Are you from Chicago?
I'm from Chicago. I'm actually from Andersonville. So I grew up right down the street, down Foster.
So I was from Ohio. I was born in California.
You were? That's far away. Do you like Chicago?
Yeah.
That's good.
Do you like working?
I love working here. It's my favorite job that I've ever had.
When did you start working here?
I started here in March of 2013. I started off as the store manager for only 2 months, and then I started working as an education manager here. So I was a teacher before working here, but my school closed. So I needed a job real quick, and I got a job in the store, but thankfully this came up. This is a much better fit.
I was also going to ask, I know you kind of already answered this, but what exactly is your job here?
I am the education manager, so that means I'm in charge of anything to do with children and families. So that's the Children's Museum, but I also do all the school tours. We have school tours every day of the week during the school year, and then any family programming that goes on, like Pancakes with Pippi and Breakfast with Tompton and all that kind of fun stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a very, very important holiday in Sweden. It's a very big deal.
How many artifacts do you have in Sweden?
We have a lot, thousands, tens of thousands of artifacts, and they're not all here on display. Most of them are in our basement, in our storage collection, which is, there's lots of things called dehumidifiers down there, so everything's controlled so they can stay nice and in the perfect temperature for all the different artifacts, but they're all stored down in the basement. You're welcome.
So my first question is, who owns the business now?
Well, we are run by a group of people. That's our board, and our board kind of are the people who get together monthly, or maybe even more often than monthly, and they make all the big decisions about the museum. But my boss her name is Karen Moen Abercrombie, and she is the executive director of the museum. So nobody really owns it. Because we have members who kind of help us with that too, so we're all kind of in it together.
And next, what is your favorite part of the museum?
Favorite part of the museum is the Children's Museum for sure, because that's what I'm in charge of. But my favorite part of my job is working with kids every day and being able to see them learn new things and have so much fun.
Action.
Who started this business?
Well, I think the person who started this museum was named Kurt Mathiasen, and I think that he started with just his own collection of things and then decided that he wanted to start adding to that, and so he built a little tiny museum down Clark Street in one of the storefronts there, and that was in 1976. So that's where the first museum started, down the street. Yeah, it was kind of down the street a little bit, and it was kind of cool because it looked like it was a log cabin, the front of it, but it was just a little tiny store.
Did you set up or design the Children's Museum?
I didn't. I did not set up any of that. It was here before I started. It opened in the year 2001, and I started here in 2013. So it was already set up, but I got to open the Buzz Aldrin section of the Children's Museum. I didn't build it, but it was in the middle of being built when I started here. So I got to be one of the first people to open it up.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
What exactly do you get to do at Midsummer Fest? What does the museum do?
So Midsummer Fest is a really great festival that we have in Chicago. Our main parts in it are, there's a main pole, a midsummer pole in the middle of the street, and first thing on Saturday morning, a bunch of people get around the main pole and they all dance and sing Swedish songs. And then there's a Swedish stage with Swedish music and dancing and there's things like that throughout the whole weekend also. But we do this here because in Sweden there's also Midsummer Fest that happens. It's a very, very important holiday in Sweden. It's a very big deal.
With the Swedish origin, why they spell it L instead of U?
You're right. Yep, this is how they spell it in Sweden.
Yeah, and is that horse what we see downstairs?
This is the Dollar Horse, exactly. Yep, downstairs and also by Farragut you can see the horse.
My name is Molly. My name is Emma. We're the Weather Girls. Today is really, really hot. So we went to George's ice cream to cool off. Are we going to share this?
Loud.
When did you start working here?
Oh my goodness. At the beginning of the summer.
I started working beginning of February, so a few months.
What are some of the most unique flavors?
I would say Blue Moon. I haven't seen Blue Moon anywhere. It tastes like after you eat the milk after cereal, so it tastes like Fruit Loops.
I think our most unique flavor is probably Kitty Kitty Bang Bang, which is isn't that weird? It's raspberry cheesecake flavor with Oreos, and it's really good. Yeah, wow, I was right.
So, what is your favorite part of working here in the museum?
My favorite part is working here is just the environment. It's really friendly and it's a really family, enjoyable environment to chill and just eat good ice cream.
Yeah, Andersonville is close to my house, and also it's super safe. Thank you.
Do you like ice cream yourself every day?
I do like ice cream. I eat ice cream every day. And yeah, coconut is still my favorite flavor.
Yeah, I love ice cream. I kind of eat it way too often. And my favorite flavor is, again, like the Nippy Slippy.
Am I from Chicago? I am not from Chicago.
I am from Chicago. I was born here. I've been here for 18 years.
Right, and action.
My first question is, what is your favorite event?
My favorite Olympic event would be gymnastics. The floor dancing teams are really cool.
Yeah, I agree. I really like gymnastics. the swimming event's really cool because I like Michael Phelps a lot. Yeah.
My second question is, what is your favorite baseball team?
Oh. Ina?
I mean, since I'm from Chicago and I was born here, I really like the Cubs.
Yeah. I was kind of raised on the south side, and so I like the Sox. Oh boy. Well, we got our ice cream. This is gonna be a bummer for you, but we got our ice cream from Madison, Wisconsin, and they're the ones who make the cotton candy ice cream taste like cotton candy. We don't have anything to do with it. Yeah. How would you imagine that they do that?
I have no idea.
And action.
All right. I believe that the people who started this business are the nieces of George, and they come in like every month, and they have a little meeting with Jen, who is our manager, and they say what's like going right with it and what's going wrong with it. And they started the business because they really love George and they love what he stood for.
And it started about 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Great. What's your second question, Colin?
When did George's open?
Like we said before, George's opened about 7 years ago. So it was
2009. Quick math. That's right.
She said.
Great menu!
Recorded it.
Gluten-free! When did you start working here?
10 years ago.
And how long does it take to make a pizza?
Small thin crust takes 8 minutes, and its stuff takes 4 a large stuff. Stuffed is the pizza, everything's stuffed inside, and then the crust is around and sauce is on top. And a thin crust is just very good.
Okay, got it. What is your most popular pizza?
Rinelli's pizza. So sausage, mushroom, onion, pepperoni, and green pepper.
Thank you.
Can you ask your general question too? Flip the page over.
Who started this business?
Jennifer Grant.
What is your favorite Olympic event?
My favorite Olympic event? Swimming.
Wait, the second question is, what is your favorite baseball team?
Is that right?
Baseball team? I'm not really into sports.
That's
What's your
okay.
favorite baseball team? The Cubs. I've been having to say Cubs too since we live in Chicago. Yeah.
How many pizzas do you
One day, I would say maybe about 300.
I'm Quinn, DBS News sports reporter. We were looking for more places to interview, so we laced up and went to Alamo Shoes.
They've got Kylo Ren socks, BB-8s, Jabba socks, Boba socks, Leia socks, more Jabba socks. Why do you call it Alamo Shoes?
In the early 70s, my father bought a shoe store and it was called Alamo Shoes. And that was a different location. And it was a successful store. It was on Chicago Avenue. Which today is a very nice neighborhood. Back then it wasn't as good a neighborhood. But he bought a shoe store and it was already called Alamo Shoes. And he closed that store and then he opened this store up. And he used that name again. So we just kept the same name as the previous store.
When did you start working here?
As I mentioned to you, somebody asked the first question if it was a family business. So being a family business, I grew up here. This was my playground. This is a second home for me. So my parents are still in the back here. There isn't really a day that I could say I started working here as much as I've
Well, yeah, but you obviously didn't work as a kid, so.
I did work here as a kid. I worked here when I was your guys' age because this was a place I spent a majority of my free time was here. So was it work or was it play or was it a little bit of both? It's a little bit of both. I played here and while I was playing here I was working here.
Nice.
Okay?
And then my last question is, where are the shoes made? Or where are the different shoes made?
It's a very good question. I wish we had a globe because I could show you all the different places in the world that these shoes are made. For example, if you look on that display there's some shoes made in San Antonio, Texas. And a lot of shoes today are made in China just because it's less expensive to make shoes in China. Your Crocs, let's look at the bottom here. Doesn't say.
Wait a minute.
Some shoes are made in Vietnam. Some shoes are made in Australia. Some shoes are made in Israel. I have shoes that are made in Israel. Yeah, very few. When I was your age, most shoes were made in the United States.
You want those in the old box?
Now it's the other way. It's 100%. It's 180 degrees different. Most shoes today are made outside of the United States. The vast majority being made in China.
Hear you.
My first question is, do you like Chicago?
I love Chicago. I like the diversity of the people. I like the seasons of the weather. And I like the downtown and the lakefront and the river and the shopping. So a lot of different things I like about Chicago. I like the Chicago Bears.
Before you worked here, did you get your shoes here?
Before I worked, yes, because I grew up here. I was younger than you guys when my father had the shoe store, so I've always got my shoes here.
Question good. So my first question, who owns the business now?
My father.
Okay.
My mother. Definitely not my mother.
And what size are your feet?
Very good question because it would depend. I'm going to answer you a little complicated. I can give you an easy answer, but there's a more complicated answer. Yes. In the United States, I'm a 10.5. But if we're in England, I would be like a 9.5. And if we were in Germany or Italy or Spain, I could be a 43 or 43.5. And if we're in Japan, we'd be there's a different size scale in Japan as well. So it depends on what part of the world you're in as to what your shoe size is, because different parts of the world use different size scales.